Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Starting to find a new way to do things. Figured I'd incorporate some personal practices. Cleansing and clearing my psychic space so I can be a clear communicator and share what is coming through to share with all of you today. You might hear the jingling of my pets. They are both lively today. Okay. I do have some notes today to share just because there's a lot of things floating around and it's easier to have them linear than plucking them out of the psychic space sometimes. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Isabel. Thank you for joining. This is my 4th episode, and each one's a little different. Each one has a story, a theme that you might relate to and you might not. So take what resonates and leave the rest. Today or yesterday, probably both, it's a new moon in Cancer. And the moon in traditional astrology tends to symbolize the body. And in modern astrology, it's also your intuitive or emotional space or your emotional body. It corresponds to water. As we know, the moon affects the tides. And so this is a very emotional new moon and a good place to set intentions because the moon rules Cancer. And since we're in this new moon, I don't know if anybody's paying attention to the current astrology, but there is a lot of major transits happening, especially with the outer planets, which feels like a collective shift, which I will not touch on because it's just too much and not quite the point today. There's also a Mercury retrograde in Cancer. So the planet of communication and systems, algorithms, technology, music, etc., is retrograding, which means it looks like it's moving backwards. It's not actually moving backwards. But when it retrogrades, it's a call for us to reflect, review, do everything twice. What is it? Cross your T's and dot your I's. And so during a Mercury retrograde in Cancer, it might be a call to review your emotions, review things that you have been feeling or how you've been showing up emotionally for yourself and for others. Now, Cancer, if you have ever seen a birth chart, it's a circle. And naturally, the left where 9 o'clock would be on a clock, that's where Aries naturally lives. And so Cancer, going in order because it goes bottom up to the top, Cancer would be the bottom of the chart. And since it's the bottom of the chart, that's associated with midnight. And I know this because although I'm not a Cancer, I was born shortly after midnight, and that's where my sun is on the chart. So that's the midnight. So not only is Cancer watery and intuitive and mysterious, because water is, it's also corresponding to the midnight of the zodiacal wheel. So it's the unseen, which I feel like is an easy way to remember. That's why it corresponds to intuition. Now, I bring that up because we are dealing with a retrograde and a new moon, among other things, in this theme of Cancer, the root, the fourth house because it's at the bottom of the zodiacal wheel. That's the root of the zodiac. Or another way to understand it is that those are your ancestral roots. My cat agrees. Her name is Umami. And so the idea that we're working with the root structure, the ancestors, the home life, even the mother archetype is often what Cancer corresponds to, or this house corresponds to. I think a review of those themes in your life is happening for you or not, depending on how strongly you work with your own chart. For me personally, I have Capricorn at the bottom. I'm a Capricorn, I've mentioned in the past. And at the top is where I have Cancer. So I'm reviewing how I show up professionally, to give you some context, because the top of the chart is your public authority or your legacy, in the professional sense, not the genealogical sense. So I'm in a space where, since they are opposite signs showing up in each other's houses, I'm always in a space of mirroring whatever the theme is. So it'll show up in both aspects of my life. So yeah, I'm in a review of my genealogy, my ancestral connections, my mother archetype, and I'm also in a review of my business and how I run it and what is the voice of my business, and you get the idea. So because this is showing up for us collectively and for me personally, I wanted to share a little bit about how it's showing up for me personally, because that has taken center stage. I think I briefly mentioned in my last video that I was talking about how the body is an instrument, and deep breath, and how I was processing not only my migraines at the concert, but I think I mentioned some family trauma, which I didn't go into detail, and I probably won't. But I did speak to it being throat chakra related. That story is continuing to unfold, and how it's showing up in my life is very symbolic. So, for example, because I said Cancer is the mother archetype and your roots, well, it just so happens that I'm processing or holding or moving through my body ancestral trauma on my mom's side. Go figure. Oh, bless you, Umami. And it's showing up in a way where in conversation, I have these conversations all the time, and I was talking with a friend who had some messages come through from her late aunt, and it just so happens that the work that I'm doing for the family energetically is also regarding my late aunt on my mom's side. So I thought it was interesting that we were kind of mirroring each other in a way. And the more I talk to people, the more I see that we're all kind of processing this next, or next generation or last generation is really what I should say. We're processing not necessarily our generation's trauma at this point, but a generation ago. And so you've all heard the phrase being a generational curse breaker and things like that. Have I ever identified as that? Not strictly, but it's very apparent that I'm doing that work. Whether or not I knew that I came here to heal the family line on both sides is another story, but that's what I'm doing essentially. As it comes, I don't just pick a family member and start working on whatever they went through or didn't go through. That being said, that energy does get stuck in my body and I have to move it. So for all of you generational curse breakers out there, if you do identify with that work, my question for you, which I encourage you to leave in the comments if you so are inclined, are you noticing that you're doing work for a generation that has passed? Like, instead of working with your generation, siblings or parents, maybe you're working with grandparents or aunts or cousins or great aunts, like having more than 1 degree of separation, I guess is the way I could describe it. Yeah, please leave a comment. I'd love to talk it out. But just realizing that these themes are coming through at this time makes total sense. And so the question that was coming to mind today when I was wondering what I wanted to share and how I wanted to share it was like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this information? And how do I share it with you guys? And what would be helpful for you to know or understand or work with? And so I came up with like a little to-do list, because that seems to be very helpful in a time where things feel too fluid or not in a straight line. When things are not straightforward, we tend to get hung up, which I actually have also noticed when I've been doing readings lately. The majority of my clients feel stuck, or they feel like they don't have a direction, or they feel like they're kind of in murky waters. And so there's just this energy of like, I don't know what to do next. I don't know where to go next, or I don't know how to get there. So I'm just going to give you a few little pointers on what to do with this energy, because the Mercury retrograde is going to last until the 23rd. Then there's the post retrograde shadow, which means those themes are not as intense, but they can still come up. And Cancer's seasons for about another week too, and then we switch into Leo season and the Lionsgate portal, which I will jump in here and talk about next time. The few things to do. What do I do with this? Listen. That's step one. I'm not telling you to listen to me, but listen to me. So step one, listen. Listen to your body, as we talked about last week. Listen to your intuition. Listen to your appetite. Listen to your inner voice. Listen to the synchronicities or coincidences or whatever you want to call them that are showing up around you. Listen to the themes that are coming up in conversations. Pay attention, because you're getting this information. We're all receiving information from very practical places and very unseen or unknown realms and beings, and we are often too busy to hear it. We are so bogged down with distraction, especially in the technological sense. And so giving yourself the time and space to actually hear or acknowledge or clarify what's coming through. And that could be just sitting still for 10 minutes first thing in the morning, without your phone, without a to-do list, just breathing, listening to your intuition. You can do it in meditation. If you have a meditation practice or want to develop a meditation practice, this is a great time because we're in a review space. It's time to slow down. You could do it through movement. When I move my body, what does it feel like? What does that translate as a message? You know what I'm saying? And the next thing would be to go outside, and you can pair those two together. Go outside, walk under a tree, and listen. Like, listen to the message or messages from nature, because that's another form of communication that we have conditioned out of us. So go sit under a tree. I know it's hot outside, but resist. You know what I mean? Do it first thing in the morning. Do it at the end of the night when it's cooled down, the sun is down, and it's just dark outside. That's very Cancerian, to be under the moonlight or the new moon and just connect with nature and be in awe and aware of how all of it is working in synergy, including you, whether or not you're aware. Socialize. It's summer. Summer in the northern hemisphere. Summer is a warm time of year, which usually means that the yang energy or the masculine energy, the active energy, the warming energy is high, which means going out, doing things, engaging, playing, experimenting, adventuring. That's actually another one. I skipped one. But going out and exploring, especially in connection with others, that will seal the deal. That will give you all the answers that you need if you're really intentional about who you spend time with and where you go. And then at the end, notice what is coming up for you. Write it down. My favorite thing. First question, do you journal? Second question, do you meditate? Those two things alone can help you maintain a sense of mental and emotional well-being and balance. That could, if you make that your baseline, a lot of other things that come up are so easy to tackle. There are still going to be hard things that journaling and meditating may not be able to help you through. But again, if you make that your baseline, you might find, I almost guarantee it, you will find life is just more manageable when you're able to do those two. Now, how I've been able to listen and receive messages is through meditation, among other things. And I often receive guidance on what to offer my community at any given time. And so this time, instead of my normal radical ritual and tarot and tea society, which have been retired as per the messages I've been receiving, I have a few new offerings to share. The plant medicine meditation is not new. I've been doing that for a couple years now, actually. And this month we are working with Hape again. I'm very much called to share this medicine more often than usual. I think part of it is the warmer energy. It seems to be, it comes from a warmer climate. So I think it just naturally has an affinity towards being utilized at this time. So the plant medicine meditation is Thursday, the 23rd, and we are going to use Hape. I guide you through a gentle dose of this medicine. It is euphoric and grounding. And I will also share with you the science behind it, the physical responses to receiving the medicine. So you are informed and you know what your body is doing. And so it gives you the bandwidth to be in a space of energetic or spiritual receptivity while you're using the medicine. The second event, these two are new. The second and third event are new. I've never offered these before in this capacity. The second one is a DIY ritual oil workshop. The oil workshop is for folks who are have a affinity to scent or their olfactory senses. I'm a very scent motivated, scent driven person. And not everybody is, and I totally get that. But those of you that are, this event is for you. Basically, I will be teaching you how to create your own ritual oil. I call it a ritual oil in general spiritual practice across time. You can also call it an anointing oil. Lots of cultures and religions have been using oil to anoint and in spiritual practice for eons. I'll say eons. So you'll be making your own ritual oil. I will supply all the crystals and the dried herbs and the different essential oils and teach you how to mix different scents together so that you have something that's pleasing. And that will come with a kind of a guided meditation or visualization, so you have an intention for why you're creating what you're creating. And that's on the 30th, Thursday the 30th. And then the third event is happening when the Lionsgate portal is said to be at its peak, and that is on August 8th, 8 to 8, and we will be doing a spell jar workshop. Same idea, different medium, different element. The ritual oil is more like water-based energetically. It's not actually water, it's oil. And the spell jar is fire and a little bit earth. There's crystals and things in there that we include. But for the spell jar workshop, we will be, again, setting an intention for what we want to create, manifest, move through, release. Your intention can be anything. And I will have all the supplies for you to add into your spell jar. Again, crystals, herbs, shells, totems, trinkets, And then in circle, in ceremony, we will be burning our candles so that we can amplify each other's magic and intentions. All three events are available for booking, local to Sacramento. They are in person. And if you're interested, feel free to message me or comment on this video, or just go to my website. You can also email me from there. I'd love to connect. I love to be in conversation, and I love to share my lived experience and knowledge and wisdom. So until then, thank you for your presence. It may not be live, but it's felt. And I do appreciate all the support and likes, shares, and subscribes to my channel. I know I'm just getting started, and I am listening to the nudges to be here and show up for you guys in this way. If there's anything that you want to know, also message me or DM me, or I guess comment on this video what you want to know about or learn about or hear me talk about. I'm here for you guys. Okay, have a good day. Happy new moon in Cancer, and slow down. Enjoy the Mercury retrograde. It's not so bad. Take care, guys.